Hey, what's up guys? Zach here with American Smoke, and today we're going to be cooking a delicious whole duck. If you're looking to spice up your holidays or looking to impress your family and friends, this is a great way to do it. It's not a huge bird, so you can make this along with your turkey or with your ham, or if you're like me and my family, a lot of times we do steaks for Christmas, baby. If you have never done that, give it a try. But today, we're going to be cooking this duck to smoky, delicious perfection. Stick around, because we're going to be getting to that right now. What we're doing here today is going to be bare bones duck. Bare bones duck. We're not going to brine, we're not going to do a dry brine, we're not going to do any of that. We're going to see what kind of a duck product we can get if you're just a basic cook. You're not looking to do anything too fancy, but you would like to try something new to get your feet in the water, so to speak. So I'm going to kind of tell you what to look for, what to look out for, and that sort of thing. One thing you want to do is it's going to come with a packet of marinade. You just probably want to chuck that. Then you want to make sure that you get all of the giblets from inside of the bird out. Next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to trim it up just a little bit. This duck skin, you'll notice as you get your hands on it, is about twice as thick as chicken skin, and that's because of the fat content. I like to leave the tail on just because it adds to the look of the bird once it's cooked. This area right here around the opening in the cavity is going to turn out to be, pretty daggum chewy. So I recommend taking the time, just doing away with some of that extra skin and fat that's right there. Because somebody will get their mouth on it and they'll think, oh, I don't like duck. Duck's got a weird texture, I don't like it. You know those people. Always looking for a reason not to like stuff. That's not me. I'm always trying to figure out what is it that other people like about this so much? How can I get in on it? So if that's you, you've come to the right place. We're trying something new today. We're cooking duck, baby. One extra step that you can take after you have dried it with your paper towels and cleaned it up a little bit, if you haven't had the time to let it air dry in the fridge overnight, you can always just take a hair dryer and put it on the lowest setting on cool and just run some air over it to quickly but easily dry it out just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. But next thing we want to do is, if you've got a sharp point, a fork or something like that, you want to go in and you want to poke holes in the skin. And so when you poke the holes in it, you just allow an avenue for the fat to escape a little bit and render out so that you don't just get a real greasy bite. And when this is cooking, you'll start to see, as the temperature of the duck rises and the fat starts to render, you'll start to see that fat run out of these holes a little bit. All right, so we've got a plentiful amount of holes into our duck skin at this point. And so what we want to do now is we are going to be injecting a little bit of my seasoning. And so you just want to get underneath that skin just a little bit, because what we want is to get a little bit of flavor between the skin and the meat. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, just enough to where it's better than if it wasn't in there. And since we're not doing a flavorful brine or overnight dry brine or anything like that, we ain't gonna hurt nobody's feelings by injecting a little bit of flavor into this duck. And if your feelings get hurt because there's flavor, you got no business eating in my house. I'm going to tell you that right now. And we're just going to make sure that there's an even coat all over this side of the duck. Then we're going to hit it up with a little bit of kosher salt. I've watched a lot of other guys and gals cook these things, and they put the salt and pepper on, and then they put their baste. And I don't get that, because as soon as you throw your baste on there, you're washing all the salt off. So what we're going to do is we're using part of our seasoning as a binder for the rest of our seasoning. Some peppercorns we're going to grind up, and that soy and honey is going to just lock that stuff onto the outside of the bird. If you've watched much of my channel, you know I don't go light with the seasonings. I put it on there, baby. We're just going to flip it over. We're going to grab a little bit more of our injection here, and we're just going to go into different spots on this bird. And then we're going to be going with another coat of the magic. The magic, baby. It's going to be what sets you aside. It's going to be what makes people go, why have I never eaten duck? You ain't ate duck because you out of luck. But today, you're in love. Today, we're gonna show y'all how to cook a duck. It's gonna impress everybody you know. It's gonna change the way you see duck. It might even change your life. All right, so the magic is gonna come in the form of light chili powder, real light. When this hits the tongue when you're eating it, it's gonna be subtle, but it's gonna taste like something that you really like. And then we're gonna hit it up with some paprika to add color to the skin. And this is gonna make this duck just breathtakingly beautiful before you ever get it in the smoke. You know what happens when something is breathtakingly beautiful before it goes into the smoke? It comes out of the smoke like something you've never seen before. That's when you show pictures of your food online and people say, what was your process? What was your time and temp? Blah, 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 blah. It's because you put the effort into making sure that it was done right before it went into the smoke. Huge, important tip. We're gonna just leave it splayed out. A lot of times people will tuck the wings or tie up the legs or all this sort of stuff in order to get it ready and to try to protect some of the darker meat. But look, this is like a chicken thigh on steroids right here. Duck meat is extremely fatty. It's mostly the texture of dark meat, so it's very, very hard to dry out, and I'm not too worried about it. We're gonna be hopefully getting about 175 on the legs, 165 in the breast, a lot like a chicken. And so I don't care if a darker than dark meat duck leg is darker than a chicken leg, if that makes sense. It's hard to dry out a chicken leg. And so if it's hard to dry out a chicken leg, I'm not too worried about drying out a duck leg. So we're gonna go out there, we're gonna let this set and let the seasoning bond to the skin for just a little while we got the pit fired up and get ready to put it in the smoke. So we're out here at the pit, letting it get fired up, letting the smoke start to roll. And one thing that I wanna make sure that I do with this duck, because you want to cook a duck at a higher temperature, closer to 300 or above, just like a chicken or a turkey, is that I want to make sure to get some extra smoke onto that duck. And the way that I'm going to do that is with my smoke tube. I've got my smoke tube already loaded up with some cherry wood and apple wood pellet mix. I want light fruit flavors sort of dancing on that duck skin while I'm cooking. Meanwhile, my pit boss over here is burning Competition Blend. Just a little tip whenever you're using your smoke tube is you want to let it catch on fire and burn for at least 5 to 10 minutes before you blow it out. That really helps to get it going well, gets a bunch of ash there so that it can continue to burn down the tube. If you light it up, blow it out immediately, it may fizzle out on you and you won't get the smoke that you were counting on. So we've got our pit up to temp at 300 degrees. And we're about to put our bird in. We got plenty of smoke rolling out from our smoke tube. There she goes. We'll come back, get a meat probe in it here in about an hour. So we're back out here at the pit at about the hour 15 mark. And what we've done is I have just put a probe from my ThermoPro into the breast. Right now our breast is sitting at 121 degrees. What I'm hoping to hit on it is 165. All right, so we're out here at the smoker and our bird has officially reached 155 degrees in the breast. Currently at 156 and climbing. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pull it out and we're gonna do a little basting and let it get up to 165, and then it'll be time to let it rest, and then we'll be eating, which y'all know is my favorite part of this whole entire experience. Oh mama. I'm pulling out my pan a little bit, pulling out my bird, and then we're just gonna go over it with just a little bit more of the flavor. Color is just fantastic, man. So epic. You can see all that fat rendered out down in the drip tray. Skin is just looking on point as can be. All right, so let's get that back in there. To be continued. The duck is cooked. It's finally ready. I hope y'all are as excited as I am. I went in a little earlier and I put a second meat probe in the other breasts. Both of them are reading done now. I flipped it around as well because you get more heat towards the back of the chamber than you do in the front. I've talked about that in other videos, so I just rotate it around a little bit, pull those out. Always good to double down on your meat probes if you have the ability to do that. You never know when you might have a malfunction of some kind. But there is our beautiful, beautiful duck. If you don't think that's pretty, we just got a whole different definition of what pretty is, I guess. That's what you want. That is what you want. So here we are in the kitchen now with our smoked duck. It turned out just how I wanted it to turn out. It looks absolutely beautiful, and you can just see where the rendered fat is still just running out. We cooked this duck for about 3.5 hours, and it's been resting now for about 15 minutes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a few cuts, see what it looks like, give it a taste. That way everybody sort of knows. Gotta take my word for it, I guess. Let's see what's up. Automatically, I'm noticing that the skin has thinned out so much. Very juicy. Got a good smoke penetration through the skin. Trying to make pretty cuts. Yeah, I think we did good. I think that we did good. Pretty. All right, let's give it a taste. So you can see the skin pulled easily. Definitely succulent, definitely moist. Got that sweet from that honey and soy, and that'll make a fine sandwich too. Let's see what's going on with this leg right here. So for anyone that's wondering like why they say duck is so fat, see that layer? That's all fat right there. So when you're thinking, I bet you chicken and duck's about the same. No, you're getting a ton more fat on duck than you are with chicken. And that's the reason you have to punch the holes in the skin to let some of that fat out. It's not like a piece of venison. It's not gonna be dry because of lack of fat. Turned out really great. Great color. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. If you have any questions, comments, concern, chat me up below, and we'll see y'all in the next video.